Okay, this is our second tutorial on continuous domain and range, and this is going to focus on the range. I've left the domain notes already there that we did so that we can sort of compare the two. So the range is the Y values, so I'm going to put that in there. And the Y values are the vertical up and down, straight up and down values. So we're going to be looking at the numbers that are on the y-axis. So I'm going to get my highlighter. I'm going to highlight that one for you. This time I'm going to use yellow, so it's a little bit different. That's the y-axis, the straight up and the down, and that's what we're going to be looking at. It's basically what you have is you've got two axes. You've got an x-axis here, and then the y-axis is the one up and down. So right now I'm going to focus on the y-axis numbers. And I'm going to take this off of here so I can sort of look at it a little bit better. Now, as far as this graph, just like the one on the left-hand side, it's got like two endpoints, but it's not always the endpoints that determine the numbers, because really what you're looking at, like for domain, it might be the left and the right, and in that case, the two endpoints did represent the farthest to the left and the farthest to the right. But on the range on this new graph, you're looking low to high, and the lowest spot is really this curve down here where it dips down. I realize that it crosses at the -2 with this endpoint, but that's not the lowest spot. It's right down here on that curve. The highest spot is up high that is associated with an endpoint, and now both of these are at the 4s, except we've got -4 down low, +4 up high. So those are my two range values. So I'm going to go over here and write that my range is my y. I'm going from -4 to +4. I'm going to clean that up for you in a minute, and I'll do that right now. Got a little bit. So -4 to +4, and those are my symbols that mean that it goes in between. And since the -4 was actually on the curve, that's the same as a closed-in dot, so it gets the underline. That means it includes the -4. The +4 had an open dot, so it does not get an underline. It does not include that number. It goes up to, and it's trying to reach the -4, but it doesn't actually reach, the +4, but it doesn't actually reach the +4. And the second graph is similar to the one again on the left-hand side where it only has one endpoint. So it's only going to really have one number. Again, we're looking at the range, which is the y. So I'm looking at the up and the down axis. And I need to see where that lowest spot is. And it's right down here at that endpoint. And I'm going to draw it over again to the y-axis. It's right there at the -3. So I'm going to come back over here and I'm going to do my range letter is y and my number is a -3. Now if I look at what's happening on the graph after that, it's shooting up and to the left, but we don't really care about the left and the right because that's domain, but the fact that it is also going up means that it is traveling up this y-axis. And up means it's getting greater than. It's going up to the bigger positive numbers, which is the greater than, so I'm going to use the greater than symbol. And since it has a closed-in dot, I'm going to underline that to mean that it also includes the -3. So the range is all the numbers greater than or equal to the -3. Now, if the graph had gone down like this, then that would have been the less than, because it would have been going down the y-axis, and I would have used the less than symbol instead. But since it was going up, I'm going to use the greater than symbol. Now this last one is kind of similar to the one on the left, except it does have a difference in the range. The domain is actually the same. It is still the all real numbers, because just like before, I'm going to highlight that in green again, it is going left and right, never stopping. As it goes up, it goes to the right. As it goes down, it goes to the left, and it never, never, never stops. So we say that the domain is the all real numbers going left to right. However, the range is a little bit different. This is an exponential function, which we have not covered yet in class. As it goes up, it does go up and up forever and ever and ever, but as it goes down, it actually hits a boundary. It never gets to touch the x-axis. It never gets to go below the x-axis. This has an asymptote. An asymptote is like a boundary. So it really doesn't get to go on and on forever going down. It has to stop at that x-axis, and at that point that's where x equals, and I'm going to draw it in there, x equals a 0, because that's up at the origin. Okay. So I know my range has this boundary of the 0, but the blue curve is above that, so we're going to do greater than. Since it doesn't ever actually get to touch the x-axis, I'm not going to underline it because it does not include 0. It's just everything greater than y equals 0. So it's everything up and above the 0 for the x, so up and above the x-axis up here. And this concludes our second tutorial on continuous range with a little bit of a connection to domain as well.